And when I say we, I mean our elected officials are letting this happen. So I just think we have to get really loud and really vocal and pinpoint one thing at a time, because as whoever said earlier, it was a fire hose. Yeah, it's a lot. So we have to pick things, and exposure doesn't do it anymore. It's all been exposed. It's all out there. Everyone knows. It's just changing the consciousness and the acceptance. So anyway, I'm happy to have this room. I'm happy to have you guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay.
I just want to say, right. Hi, Cindy. I know you said changing the rules, but what I thought in my head was, changing the laws. Like, you don't break the laws, you change the law, so then you can break the law. It's no longer a broken law if you have the power to change it. I just sort of realized that. I didn't realize the question of the room was, how did you get through yesterday? So come back to me maybe after you've gone through the room, Ben, because I would like to share a little bit more.
Okay. Absolutely. No, there'll be some room to do this. All right. Let's see who's up here. I want to go to Rick, and then we got Dr. James is in town, and let's see, Scott's here. David. Well, David, anyway, we'll get to you. So, Rick, why don't you get us updated?
Yeah, I think his strategy, which works really, really well, is he may have a team of spotters to find out, okay, who can I leverage now? Who can I extract money, or who can I extract support from? I would be willing to bet that he tries to meet with Bill Maher when he is in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Because Bill Maher has been railing against regulation. He's a libertarian, and
yeah, he's easily turned. I think he can go both ways, but I think he can be turned. Yeah.
So I have a feeling he'll probably want to meet with Bill Maher and this guy that's the new Reconstruction czar of LA, or whatever they call him, Soberoff.
Yeah.
And Soberoff was a Richard Riordan appointee. He's a real estate developer.
And I think he also ran for mayor at one point, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, I thought so.
And he of course called himself non-political independent.
Right.
But he's a real estate developer, and he's like, this is not a time for city planning or regulations. And so that's right in the Trump wheelhouse right there. So there's a guy named James Joyce III. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He has a podcast called Coffee with a Black Guy. He's from Ohio originally, I think Toledo, and he lives in Santa Barbara now, which is one of the whitest places in the world. And he meets with people to give them exposure to something that they haven't been exposed to before. He was the keynote speaker yesterday at the Martin Luther King event here, which was fantastic. It was really a great event and inspiring. And he said something that he's very funny, but he can be really funny and really serious at the same time. And he said, where we are, we gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep distracting. He goes, and I have a flight to my new home in Africa.
He's just casual.
But he said, seriously, he goes, it's the noise that's going to kill us. And he goes, we've been through this before. People have been through this before. Black people have been through this before. And ignore the noise, because he's going to be throwing shit at the walls, rapid fire place. It's going to be a Gatling gun of bullshit every day. And he said, all politics is local. He goes, go local. Meet your city council. Meet your school boards. He goes, this in the red states is where the most damage is being done. And it's the training ground for Trumpism. In the churches, there's a pastor, some right-wing MAGA guy here in Thousand Oaks, who completely MAGA. He is so empowered now, and he said, "This is where we stop things." He goes, "We are not going to stop President Trump, but we can stop his enablers. And we can start uniting the people on our side." Because he's very good at uniting the right. He really is. The left is not good at uniting. The left is good at nitpicking each other. Mm-hmm. And he goes, so stay local. You will be able to meet your city council members. Those city council members have relationships with the county people. The county people have relationships with the state people. The state people have relationships with the federal people. This is how we can get stuff done. And he goes, number one, you got to protect yourselves. He goes, but you can't cower in the corner and just be angry and complain and say the worst is going to happen. He goes, if you do that, you've already lost. He goes, you have to have a plan. You have to do a little bit at a time on the local level, and you have to show by example what works and what people really want. And it was really an inspiring talk. And there's nothing I can do to affect Donald Trump directly, nothing. But I can affect the people who will either look the other way and ignore him, or kind of say, it ain't so bad. We can affect those people, but we have to do it on a local level, because the local level people, they need us. They need us as local people, because the margins are so small and you can actually get to them and talk to them. So go to their offices, go to the school board meetings. Some of them are most of them, frankly, are boring as hell. It takes time out of your day. But if we really do believe that there is a threat, we got two choices. We can either get to work or we can get violent. And I'm not for getting violent. And so it really is. We just have to ignore the noise that is Donald Trump. He goes, because it's going to be thrown at us at such a rapid pace and so often, and amplified by the media, and more so amplified by social media. Yesterday was the first time I've ever gotten a post on Instagram and Facebook from Mark Zuckerberg. I've been on that platform, 15 years, however long it's been around. I've never gotten a post on my feed from him. Yesterday was the first time, and it was him dressed up in a nice tuxedo,
no hoodie,
in an expensive hotel room, and it's it really is. We can forget about what Twitter and all that is. We know what these algorithms do. They feed us whatever they want to feed us. And avoiding the news, if you're on social media, you can't do it. So, social media is basically a summary of headlines. And the headlines are often the worst part of the story because sometimes they don't even have anything to do with the story. It's all about titillation, sensationalism, getting a reaction. We have to react less and we have to plan more. And that's it.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. All right, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. There is some room. What time is it? We're 4:21, so there's still some time for you. Do want to come up? We did keep the hand raising off, so if you're one of the regulars and you want to come up, put your hand up. I want a couple of shout outs. I want to shout out to our good friend Michael Schmidt, who has a club anniversary today. I see. Happy club anniversary, Michael. Yay. And also to a new friend that I've met a few months ago, Dr. Goddess, who is from my hometown of Pittsburgh. I want to do a shout out to Dr. Goddess, and I hope she starts hanging out because she's good people. And let's see, what else do we have going on here? All right, I want to get back to the room. Who do we have? Well, we haven't heard from. We haven't heard from Kyle, so let's do Kyle, and then Dr. James, and then David, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. So, Kyle, go ahead. You're on. Kyle, anybody home?
Yeah, just busy moving my
You
loose.
want me to come back
a little bit of time. Yes.
All right. Then let's go to Dr. James. Are you up and ready? Did you already walk your dog?
You know what? I can't speak today, but I'm here and I'm listening. I'm really multitasking, way too heavy on the IRL side of things right now.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for the heads up. The Right Reverend Scott, you're up.
Good morning,
I
everybody.
assume how cold is it in Philadelphia?
It's, right now, the current temperature in the city of brotherly love is a balmy 15 degrees. It should get up to 19, which would be fantastic. I might walk to Rittenhouse Square to see if the kids are pulling out the hacky sack. I mean, 19 degrees is downright.
Well, 19 degrees in Rochester when I used to be there was actually considered pretty warm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's a balmy day here in Philly. It's a golden age. We're in the golden age. Trump said so. That we're in a new golden age. And look, man, Manifest Destiny is back, and we're going to Mars. We're putting the flag on Mars. And we're skipping the rest of the globe and just going right to Mars. Bypass Greenland. Just go directly to Mars. Do not pass go.
That's right.
Do not collect $200.
And we're going to play on Trump Intergalactic. That's going to be the
exactly. I just saw an Instagram video where he was dancing to YMCA with a sword, and cutting the cake. I mean, it's very. That's the funniest thing. It's like the gayest song, and it's so interesting that he loves it. I mean, the ironies are just so. It would be funnier if it didn't have the tinge of the tragic. But I did a Martin Luther King podcast yesterday with Dean Trelier, who's Harold Dean Trelier, who's on the faculty at Howard Divinity School, and he was the dean there. He's been the dean a few other places, which is so funny because his name is Dean Trelier. It's like in the movie Old School, Back to School. Dean Martin, where Rodney Dangerfield talks to the dean, played by Warren Beatty, and the dean is named Dean Martin. It's great. But Dean brought something up I'd never thought of. He said, I said, how are you feeling? MLK Day in Trump's America. And he said, I don't think God causes these evil things. But he brought up Adolf Hitler. And he said, without Adolf Hitler, we probably wouldn't have Dr. King. I said, what do you mean? He said, Morehouse, because of World War II and the draft, conscription, that so many schools didn't have students, and Morehouse was one of them. And the president at the time just threw open the doors and was being incredibly generous with the admission standards. And he said Martin Luther King was, at that time, he was a pretty ambitious young kid, but was not the strong student, was not the student he became, but wanted to go to Morehouse and maybe would have not gotten in without the war. And he went on to become, of course, a strong student and become the great civil rights leader, of the 20th century. And so he talked about these, the hope amidst tragedy. He talked a lot about King's, what we forget about King. I mean, King's legacy, and just some of the radical nature of King that we smooth off of King, right? Because he's become part of the secular pantheon of saints. So we make him more palatable, and just some of the radical stuff he said about militarism and inequality and income inequality. And it's this great quote that Belafonte said that King relayed to him at the end of his life, right before he was killed. He said that my fear is that we're integrating into a burning house. That the immorality, because of the militarism and the income inequality, would just break America. And it's very interesting. So, I mean, that was a great conversation, and it was good for my soul. I mean, it was very, very encouraging, and I learned a lot too, which is always a plus. And now another day, yet another day in Trump's new America. I'm on the dating apps. We'll see if the MAGA women are coming out, and we'll see. I think I'm going to put on my dating profile that I'm learning the dance steps to YMCA and see what kind of hits I get. I mean, maybe I won't get hits from the gals, but from the guys.
From the guys, exactly.
Who knows? But it's great to be here, and it was always my compatriots. Keep the faith, keep the fight.
Well, thank you, Reverend Scott, and stay warm there.
By the way, Jane graciously put the link to the podcast in the chat. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Scott.
Yeah, let's go to Jane. I know you
Scott,
wanted to pop up. Go ahead, and then we're going to go to Parisian. Go ahead, Jane.
Oh, Parisian, trust me, this is 1 second. Scott, at some point before the room ends, please tell us if Bill Maher is not a libertarian. What is he, and why did you write that? Okay,
I'll just swap. Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, he's extolled the virtues of socialism many times in his show over the past few years. I mean, he said, when the right has said, "Oh, we can't have socialism," he'll be like, "What do you call Social Security? What do you call Medicare?" He'll extol stuff. I mean, he has been a pro-government guy. Now, the Bill Maher from the 90s.
Let's go to Parison. I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah, might have had
My apologies.
Yeah. I don't think Bill Maher is a libertarian. Now, will he capitulate to Trump? I don't think so, but, who knows? I mean, a lot of people are kissing the ring right now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right, thanks. Thanks, Reverend Scott. Go ahead, Parison. Why don't you tell us more about... I was listening to an interview with an American historian who was being interviewed by somebody from DW, which is a German media company, and it was really interesting. And they were discussing how Elon Musk's attempted influence on the election in Germany. So maybe you can get us up to speed with that. Go ahead, Parison.
Yes, my dear Ben. Hello everybody on the stage and also in the audience. I don't want to mention all the names, but feel yourself all hugged from my side. From an evening in Germany, it's a cold evening. We had the inauguration. We have watched all of the politics for. And of course on the TV, and we were following the events, and of course the body language of Mr. Trump interesting for me to have a look on myself. Sometimes the translations, and thanks to this room. Hello, mommy, love you. And thanks to this room, my English is getting better from day to day, so I can really understand the slang of the New York businessman.
It's on the curve. At some point, if you listen to us, your English will probably get worse. But here I go.
Okay, pardon me. Is the connection okay?
Yeah, it's good. You're good.
Okay. So,
excuse me, Persian. Sue, can you mute, or Ben, can you mute Sue?
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, first of all, I have to mention that I'm a kind of a conservative and scary guy. Believe me, I survived the repression of the Iranian regime, so I have a deep instinct in my soul to take care about what I'm talking. And I'm all the way, by the way, I think a polite guy, as you can witness, and I don't want to hurt any feeling that might be, so I'm and especially because I'm a social democrat and we are going to the election, I want to be very polite and diplomatically. So sometimes when you're saying stuff on the stage, or you're talking about wishes, and about which I am a little bit then scared to take part of, So believe me, if you as an American go to Iranian rooms and you're sitting there with your American name, and then there are so hot topics about dying some person or whatsoever, you would get hard time from the Iranians on that, So
I'm sure.
So and that's why I have to, I have to see the other side. I have to also behave myself as I think that it shall be. So, saying that, and what gives me reason to think is this in his speeches about saving, he had been saved from God Almighty to do something very huge. So, and this talking about it very unshy way. So next time we will organize it again into the Congress building. So next time and also.
Let me ask real quick, has there been anything in German media about Elon Musk doing the Hitler salute? Was there anything that was...
It's like a bomb in German.
Yeah.
Like a bomb. Because the Roman greetings.
Yeah.
Believe me, German knows how to greet Roman greetings, and this is especially the thing that is forbidden in Germany. And the American military government, right after the surrender of the Nazi regime, also brought this rule to not use this salute in German on the street or wherever it is. You can go to jail for 3 years.
Wow.
And with the speed, unbelievable speed, things are getting usual. What we couldn't say years ago, some 2 years ago or some months ago, we talk about it very, very often or very careless, and so the acts. Other point what I want to share with you, and then I will go to listen to your points. Mr. Elon Musk is supporting far-right parties all around Europe now, as we understand. In England, he made the same, and he's somehow encouraging the far-right in Europe. But we have to mention that far-right parties have usually support of Russia. They enjoy the support of Russia. For example, Front National, they had their bank and their reserves in Russia. So the ties between the AfD and Russia are very, very deep. And so a U-turn like this, and we see also again withdrawing from the World Health Organization, withdrawing from the treaties of the environmental on the environmental and green issues treaties with the European Union. So we will see. For the first day, we witness enough, and what else will come, you will decide, and you will take part. We in Europe, we are going to watch what the American voters and a new government to the world for a better world, hopefully. So with that saying, yes, Jane.
I know.
Let's pray to God. Let's pray to God.
Thank you.
Thanks, Perusian. Thanks so much. We really appreciate the
It
update.
is critical
Okay.
to listen to Perusian. I'm going to jump in here for a second, Ben.
Yeah, go for it, and then we're going to go
so-
to Jacobson.
It was
Go ahead.
so sickening yesterday to hear people trying to deny what we saw with our own eyes the 2 times that he did the Sieg Heil. It was absolutely terrifying. I'm telling you this as somebody who's 2 of my grandparents with numbers tattooed.
With Auschwitz, excuse me, with Auschwitz Liberation Day to come in the next days.
Exactly. But here's the thing, you guys. I live in the United States. I am in America, and I am with you guys and with everybody who's in this room right now, in this little ecosystem we have to argue with people about what that was really horrifying to me. I mean, if I have to try to get anybody in this place to understand what that was and to keep looking at that image and tell me that that wasn't what I know it is, then we are really in trouble. We just heard Perusian tell us that if that was here, if that was in his world, in his country, the person would go to jail immediately for at least 3 years. And the new leader of our country and his cronies allowed that. That was part of the message yesterday. We watched it. We saw it. Please, guys, like really understand that, you guys have heard me play the song in here, the revolution won't be televised. Well, I'm telling you that yesterday, the beginning of another Holocaust was televised, potential Holocaust. We need to stop this. I mean, I told friends who are right now on the stage with me yesterday that, I remember watching television and going, oh my God, we're going to be safe. It'll never happen again because it can't happen because we're all watching it. And this goes for all the genocides by all peoples. I am being 100% inclusive here and global here. All right. We have to keep our eyes open. We have to say what we see something, say something, and that begins with each other. So I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, thanks, Al. It's the warning. All right, I'm shifting things. Lou is here from I don't know whether you're in Italy or Rotterdam. We'll find out in a minute. So I want to go to you because we're talking about international stuff and curious about your thoughts about. And I'm sure you saw the thing about Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute, but we should talk about that. And then we're going to go to. And matter of fact, we've got a whole crew up here, so let's just call this. Closing comments, pearls of wisdom. So, and we'll start with Lou, and then we're going to go around the horn. And go ahead, Lou.
Hi, guys. First of all, I am in a train, so I hope that I will not lose a connection. If at a certain point you don't hear me, just...
Are you in Italy?
Yes, I am in Italy, and from the next week I will be in the Netherlands. To connect to what Ella was just saying, yeah, it was horrible, obviously. What I have been not really reading, but looking at the title of the news in Italy. And tonight I'm traveling, so I will not catch the news. But what is funny, not funny, but worrying, is that Italian newspaper call it the Roman salute, which is called the Roman salute. When Mussolini was doing it. So the fact that they are calling it like that is the fact that they are minimizing it. Because when we have in Italy this kind of fascist activists that they are marching and destroying and everything, and they walk with the Nazi salute, or Ramasol, whatever you want to call it, the harm stretch that I really don't want to see, they tend to minimize it. They call it, no, this is not has nothing to do with Hitler. It's the Roman Senate. It's very, very bad and very, very dangerous. What I wanted to say about yesterday, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just got glimpses of it. I think that Europe has to start fending for itself. We are in a very unpredictable hands now. The only know we can know about Trump that is transitional man. So he always do something. Oh, sorry, transactional. Yes, not transition. I hope it's transitional, by the way. But
Really?
It will stay. Yes. So that is the only thing we can expect, but it's very unpredictable. So to make a real analysis what is going to happen now, it's impossible. It's worrying because it's far, far worse than when it was in 2016. 2016, he didn't have the allies that he has now. He didn't know what to say. He chose now the right people. We see right away that he choose and value more somebody that he trusts than that he has political knowledge, so that he's just with him, that he value much more from the people that surrounding himself. I saw it. So it's exactly what Biden said. It's becoming an oligarchy, an autocracy regime. And the point that what makes me worry the most is not much that it's America that is becoming that, but the whole world lean to that now compared to 2016. So we are in very dangerous water, and I am, as a European, and I am worried about what he's gonna do, and if he has the power to do something about NATO membership. I think it will ask for every member state to pay more, and it's something I think we should do anyhow. I believe the 23 states, European states, already invest much more in defense compared to before, Ukrainian war. Not enough, in my advice, because I'm a predictable guy now, and Oh no, the other thing I wanted to say is that did you notice that the only European presence was Meloni? That is exactly what I've been saying about this woman from day one. Just a second, guys.
Sure. Well, we can get back to you. So, well, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy here. I'm going to have to do an Africa report tomorrow and tell you what's going on here and what I've heard through the grapevine. Anyway, let's go to, where are you? Andrea?
Hi, guys.
Did you want to finish and then we'll go to Andrea?
Yeah. Sorry. There was the guy who was asking for the ticket because I'm in the train. I was talking about Meloni. So, as you know, it's just exactly what I was expecting was going to happen. And I was seeing that it's getting closer and closer with Elon Musk, Moscow, and Trump. If I remind everybody, Italy has a far-right government. Holland has a far-right government. Soon Germany will have a far-right government. This is not good. It's really not good. What Meloni is doing something. She is worried. She's doing things for herself, but for what it concerns Italy, she's trying to keep the commercial agreement that there are with Italy, because Trump has been saying that we will stop the commercial agreement with Europe, or that Europe will have to pay much higher interest rate, or I don't know what exactly. So I think that she's pushing on that at least for Italy, because she always talks about Europe, but she doesn't care about Europe. She cares about herself, and that's the end of it. So auto stopping. No.
All right, thanks.
I'm doing that.
I know I'm interrupting a lot.
Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. Yes.
Yeah, I know I know I'm interrupting a lot here today, but I just looked at an article saying that that Spain's deputy prime minister is resigning from using X because of Elon Musk's gesture, right?
Oh, good.
And so I looked at it, and it was from Euronews, and that was the article that I wanted to share with the room. And it talks about Spain's deputy prime minister and labor minister Yolanda Diaz said they would remove their accounts. Other countries are starting to remove their accounts, and I tried to share it to the room, and it's Euronews.com, and Facebook will not let me. And Google
Oh, interesting.
Nobody will let me share this with you.
Interesting. Okay.
This is like I've never seen this happen before. I've been sharing things from this site for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm suddenly.
Can you share it with me, Al?
I'm gonna try, yeah.
Yeah, try to get it out. That would be great. All right, thanks, Al. All right, we're going to go to David Jacobson and then, Andrea and then David Jacobson. Andrea, go ahead. Closing comment, pearls of wisdom.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be closing, but hey, everybody. And wow, yesterday was tough. I tried not to watch it, but instead do a 1,000-piece puzzle. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to where I was supposed to be this week, down with another flu, but better today. But I'll not feeling well didn't make seeing any part of that any better. And just in solidarity to everyone who saw the same thing in the Elon Musk salute. Chilled to the bone is all I can say. I'm interested to see how they try to walk that back. Trump took us out of the Paris Accords, the World Health Organization. It's like, all predictable, everything he said he would do. Threatening war on Panama and almost essentially, and going after Greenland. It looks like hemispheric hegemony is what he's looking for. But I think this is a time to for sure stay alert. I see the Democrats divided in a camp of how to get along and do business, and kind of resist as much as possible. And I think that is a divide that the party should not fall on, or it more than ever before. We need to be united, and even with people outside of the Democratic Party. And I'll bring it to a close in a minute. I did see, interesting to see right now in Davos, some of the world's. 1 second, sorry, thank you. Okay, I'm here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm here, no problem. Sorry about that. As I was watching the breakdown of this, people reacting real time just after the inauguration at the World Economic Forum in Davos, it was interesting to see no one really coming out with a very strong voice about how this is a potential new world order unfolding in front of our eyes, right? And very strongly so. I think in the end, Ian Bremmer came out and said, I felt like people weren't wanting to say things to, upset the new administration, because these are professionals and people just, kind of want to move forward. Even my former dean and professor, Graham Hallison, who's been around since he watched the Bay of Pigs unfold. Cuba, he was talking about how what's exciting about this time is that it is creating a new world order and everything. And I was sitting there scratching my head. Nothing about the salute, came up on the stage. And they did talk about the rise of the, like in any other world or any other country, we would be calling this a kleptocracy by now. But because it's the United States that wields this incredible military and economic power, we're not saying that as much out loud. Well, some people are. Kara Swisher, and maybe we've said it in this room, from oligarchy to kleptocracy. But for sure, it was just interesting to hear them on their hot takes, because the main takeaway was that some things we know, but that it's really an unstable era because we're not exactly sure, other than most likely we'll see tariffs and Trump's trying to put a squeeze on China. So they were really looking at it from the geopolitical angle, and really nothing. I want to say this to like the American people. It truly is up to us and the people in the country to stay engaged now in a very similar way to when they had underground railroads and everything, I think, because keeping eyes on reality of what is going to go down. The cities have been listed for the deportations, stronger need than ever before to hold on to your community and your loved one tight, and find trusted sources of information, and know what you can do in these moments. And you can still reach out and tell them not to confirm these people. At a minimum, you can take a small action and contact Congress and write an op-ed. We can still do that. We are not powerless. And so I'll end on that.
Good. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for the catch up. All right, we've got 10 minutes, so let's do this. Let's hit a couple of we haven't really heard from David. So let's go David, and then Francine. Dr. James, Sue,
Not available.
Cindy, if you have, huh?
Not available today for me.
You are available?
No,
I'll be available.
Okay. All right. So I'll get to everybody. Rick, stick around because you can be the caboose, and then we'll be doing this again tomorrow.
Kyle has a hand up.
Yeah. No, that's why I said Sue and Cindy. If you have a closing comment, put your hand up. Come on in. Go ahead, Sue. Closing comment. Ooh, Sue, are you there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all. I have no closing comments. I'm going to pass to the next person.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Okay, let's go to, I forget what I said. I think David Jacobson. Go ahead, David.
Sure. I don't have anything groundbreaking. Austin's got snow. And
well, that doesn't happen that often, does it?
It's a new world, a new world order. Yeah. So yeah, it's not unheard of. Anyway, it started with, and it accumulated. I wouldn't call it. You can't make a snowball out of it, so it's not real snow. I grew up in Colorado, so people call it snow because it's white on the ground. And school's canceled today. They're still up in the air about canceling tomorrow. Wind chill of 13 degrees, so it's 3 degrees warmer of a wind chill than New York City right now. Anyway, let's see. I put a link in the chat for Jon Stewart on The Daily Show covering the Hitler salute and the rest of the inauguration. I think he did a pretty good job. I don't really have that much in terms of wisdom to provide, other than we should stand up for the former normal in values, that even if the noise is trying to drown us out, we know what the difference between right and wrong, and rewriting history to say that slaves learned good lessons, and that this is just a Roman salute. Where that's all normalization, and it's going to take us down a darker path. So let's kind of keep our torches on and keep the path lit for.
Not tiki torches, not tiki torches.
That's true. Scotty, you got a closing comment, pearls of wisdom?
No, I was just going to add to that super quickly. It's just very telling and also shocking the amount of people who spend their time and efforts to deny other people what they are seeing and what they are feeling about. This is in regards to, let's say, the Nazi salute, but also in regards to other things. And so people, particularly on this app, will spend their time when they really have the option to just shut the fuck up and say, okay, fine, this is what you feel, instead of combating them at every turn about what they're feeling, what they're saying, and what they're thinking, and what they're concluding. And that's the part that's really frustrating, because these people do it like clockwork for every fucking thing. And the fact that they're doing it for a Hitler salute, which some of us are very, very, very fucking sensitive to that, because our family has lived experience with that, is very telling of the character of those people. And blaming it to like Asperger's or some fucking shit is a right-wing bullshit talking point cover-up. So just remember the people who are doing it here on this app, here on social media, and remember them, because they will do it for the next thing as well. I'm done.
Not to mention the vigor with which it was done, with the defiant look on the face. There was nothing accidental about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely
And
right.
if there
Thanks
was,
for
and
that.
you're unsure about it, as somebody's questioning, maybe it's a time to just shut the fuck up, instead of taking the default measure of being against the person who was feeling that.
Exactly. All right, let's. It's 5 minutes to. We're closing up. We have Andrew back up on the stage. Andrew, did you have a closing comment or pearls of wisdom?
Yes, thanks, Ben. Yeah, I agree 100% with what Scotty just said, for sure. I got to call it is what it is. Let's be real. Yeah, I have a sinking feeling here today after yesterday, and so I'm getting a guy to come in and look at my sink and repair it. Because my sink is on the fritz.
There you go. I like it.
Everybody have a good day today.
We do need a little levity. Thank you for that, Andrew.
Okay.
All right, Sandy, closing comment, pearls of wisdom, and then we're going to go to Francine, and then I guess we'll go to Rick. We'll call it a day. We'll get to you also. Whoever has the last minute, go ahead. But Cindy right now, and then Francine's.
I just want to say to everyone that I'm going to be limiting my Facebook and Instagram exposure. Eric Stoltz posted yesterday that he's signing off for a week, and I thought, well, that's a great idea. So I was trying to sign off of my accounts. I still haven't figured out how to do it without just deleting everything. So, but I'm going to make an effort. Thank you all. Have a great.
Thanks, Cindy. Appreciate it. Okay, well, Francine, and then Lou, and then Kyle, if you got a real quick one, we'll go to you as well. But go ahead, Francine.
Okay, I just want to say that I have never seen anything like this. I mean, I'm 83, almost 84. I have never seen anything like this. It is completely shocking to me. And of course, I'm also in mourning for my dog. And so I'm just wiped out.
Oh, God.
And I'm not going to participate in social media for a while.
But you'll be here?
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean us?
I have to have friends. Where am I without friends?
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Francine, because we need you too. But we really appreciate it, and we know what you're going through with your wonderful companion dog. I can't even imagine if one of my cats passed away. It would be horrible. All right, Lou, real quick, and then Kyle, if you have a quick one, and then we're gonna do the caboose. So where's Rick?
Yeah, first of all,
Okay, go ahead, Lou.
so I have to say sorry, Dr. Francine. It's devastating, and being an animal lover more than a people lover, and I say proudly, I can only imagine how you're feeling, and so my love goes to you. What I wanted to say was like a funny, bitter note. It was about those two idiots, Trump and Elon Musk, dancing on YMCA. I mean, after passing a law about there are only two genders, do this guy know about the song, what it stands for? That's the first thing I thought. It was just, I had to laugh because I couldn't do anything else than laughing, But anyhow, so a bit of love. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, let's do, who did we miss? Kyle, did you have a quick closing comment, pearls of wisdom?
Yeah, absolutely. I provided an article from the Atlanticist or the Atlantist, or the Atlantic Council. Sorry, the Atlantic Council, the New Atlanticist. This is a really well-renowned think tank, and they're definitely not right or left wing. And it says the U.S. is right to be concerned about China's influence over the Panama Canal. I hope people look at that and get grounded in reality. I think people are too alone these days, and too much loneliness and individualism makes one think that their opinions matter more than their connection with other people and what is actually happening. So I definitely do not approve of Donald Trump, but it means that when we're looking at these things, to not get caught up in the hype. And also just like look at how much loneliness is actually impacting the American way of being. Is probably impacting people's relationships with one another as well. And it seems to be getting very dysfunctional. That's unhealthy. People interacting with AI for a girlfriend, that's very unhealthy. So maybe just focus on community and building connections, and this is the same thing with the local politics sort of thing. Don't be alone on your phones bitching about politics. Maybe go out and have some fun and harmony with other.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. All right, well, we're going to go to Rick, but just last minute. Elle, did you have any closing comment? And then we're going to go to Rick.
Oh, I don't know, Ben. I got a notice from the ADL yesterday in response to the Nazi salute, which is what it was. And to see them denying it was really terrible for me. It was really horrifying to see the Jewish institutions who are acting out of fear, xenophobia, the whole thing. I get it. I've been my people for 70 years. And I still love being Jewish, to see them being so terrified is a signal to me that we are, we keep talking about different groups who are getting scared and who are kissing the ring, and to see that happen and then listen to Perusian halfway across the world who's saying, look at it with your eyes open, acknowledge what it is, name it, name it, name it, name it. That's what we do. I am trying to stay out of powerlessness. That's really important for all of us, I think, is to not get paralyzed by fear right now. It's interesting. I've been saying, you guys have heard me say it before, that action is the antidote to despair. And I only realized last night that quote is actually by Joan Baez. I didn't know that that's who had said it. So I guess isn't that interesting with the timing of A Complete Unknown about Dylan? Yeah. We somehow need to stay out of fear. We need to know who we trust. One of the most important things in the world. That's what we teach our children, who they can trust. We need to know who to trust. We need to know who our friends and who our family are, our chosen family, like people on this app for me. And really, I'm hoping that this platform will be a place where I feel safe. And I mean that very seriously. When I sit here and I hesitate about what I'm comfortable saying right now in this room, because of all of these forces, that's not good. That makes me sad. That makes me scared. And I want this to be a safe place for all of us. And I include people who I absolutely disagree with some of their politics, and in some cases, absolutely voted for Trump. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about going forward. It's really important that we create safety. That's where I'm going to leave that.
I want to respond to Elle very quickly and throw out there something for the room to mull over, not now, but as kind of a thoughtful provocation before Rick wraps up. I've listened to everything that we've talked about in this room, and I am going to point out that do we need to explore further some of the main investors in this app? We are creating this space on an app invested in.
Yeah, Mark Anderson is a big problem.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just pointing out that he is part of this group that is looking at, tech. And so how is our data being used, and how are our voices being used, and how is this community being used? And then my question goes, okay, and then how safe? I think we're safe in the relationships with the people we know here. And I guess, I'm just throwing the question out there. I feel like to have that, if we're really talking about all this stuff, I think people need to think about that as well. Maybe it's an interesting.
Can you clarify by any chance, like the specifics?
Well,
I think
look,
it's for another room. That's why I hesitated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's the problem: is that if we sit down and start looking at, what platform it doesn't have some connection to some nefarious techno boy, because they're all invested in each other's things. Now, will that mean that they'll be targeted through here, or that Mark Andreessen has any influence? I don't think so. I think at some point you have to sort of take faith that we have to have some place where we can. I'd be more concerned about who's in the room rather than this amorphous who influences the room. But look, as I've always said on stage, I try to keep it. As a matter of fact, the rule is that everybody on stage has a similar worldview. That we're not a room where we have conversations between two sides. We are all on one side. We're not all the same, but we're all on one side. We're all pro-democracy, and we're all pro-environment, and there are things that connect us all. And we need to have a room where we do feel safe, that you're talking to fellow people. And, if that's breached in the audience, tell me and we'll fix it. But, I think it's more and more important because there are so few rooms where I feel that way outside of here. So I think it's an important distinction, Andrea. Thanks for pointing that out.
Well, also, Ben, I would just note that we are here in a room called Deep State.
Yeah.
Patriots. And, if I said to you, and you're very far away, you're very protected where you
I do have a buffer.
You have a big buffer. You've got, people with guns protecting you. When I ask, Andrea, I really appreciate you saying that out loud, because it's a question for me. My kids are like, get off of that. Don't go in that room called Deep State Patriots. They're actually scared. And I'm saying to myself, well, right now, today, after yesterday, and maybe before yesterday, if there was a rally that I could go to right now that was a Deep State Patriot rally in this country right now, how many of you would go? I wouldn't go. I wouldn't feel safe. And yet I'm on here being recorded day after day, and I'm being recorded right now. Yeah, it is really sad, Parisian. I agree with you. And I understand what you said when you first started talking about the care you have to take to protect yourself when you're speaking on this app where every word is being recorded all the time. So, to what degree we are going to have to censor our speech, which is, again, really scary to me. On the big picture, zoom out, right? Zoom out to what's happening here in the sense of history. It's a real question, Andrea. It's one I have.
Well, I think I just want to say that it takes me a very long time, and I have to know a lot before I come out and say anything against an individual. I'm not that way. I don't feel comfortable doing that, so I'm not going to say that. But I do think time and time again, the use of our data and our voices and our relationship to our data, whether we own it or not, and all things privacy is an interesting thing to think about, especially given the sensitivity of what you're talking about here and the ways in which we've really used this app in many ways to organize. And so I just landed there. I think it's a longer.
Well, just quickly.
Yeah, no, I think we could
just think of it. Bill Clinton, to get his second term, after he won, he ended up putting up focus groups on top of an office building, calling swing voters, constantly asking how they feel. Just think about the capacity of this app for people at the top to gain sentiment analysis from swing voters on the app. It is actually, I would imagine that people who are smart would use it both sides of the aisle, but that's just intelligent people will do.
that's true, but then well, we could definitely go down a rabbit hole here, because then you just need to know that, who are you listening to? Are they being genuine? I think I see a lot of groups actually going off platforms like this and being in like encrypted, and having private Zooms where they're having organizing, and it's really through a lot of knowledge and relations that they're getting on there. But, I have thought of this as a public town hall space, where maybe you have to discount a certain percentage of what's said. But anyway, I just think that the more serious groups I know are doing these more closed meetings, but because they want to avoid all the information. They want to be working with people towards the same end and avoid having some of that information getting out there. But I do think that it could be, I've often thought, it's like a public town hall in here, though I have disagreed somewhat with people who have said that the app reflects the reality of the world and real life. I'm not so sure it does, because most people don't have the opportunity or the time to be on here. So I'm not exactly sure that it really is a reflection, but I think it has I do think it has a lot of potential. I've definitely enjoyed using it. I'm just saying, let's be real about what we're talking.
No, look, we have to evaluate what's going on and see how it affects us. And, it's for the name. Look, the name is because I have a URL that I've had for 4 years called Deep State Patriots, which was intended to be a sort of a sarcastic group of flash mobs. That was the original intention. And, so I think that at this point, anybody who calls them Deep State Patriots, they would understand the sort of tongue-in-cheek nature of it. But with that said, we have to keep on top of it, like Elle mentioned. All right, let's go to, we can do this more tomorrow. So let's go to Rick. Rick, you got the caboose. Mr. Sanchez. Ricardo from Oxnard, are you there? Oh. We may have lost our caboose. I don't know if he left or not. So why don't we go to Scotty? Can you do the caboose? Or yeah, go ahead. Oh, Rick's back.
Yeah.
Rick, go ahead.
I don't. My phone was in my pocket, and I was doing pull-ups.
Ooh, how masculine of you.
Yeah. So, a lot of us, including myself, we really take a big look at the extremes, where really almost everything exists in the gray. And, if you think about the word hypocrisy, and then think about how you interpret that word, how does that make you feel, hypocrisy? And if somebody was going to call you a hypocrite, how would it make you feel? Well, I think that it's time that we all start looking at ourselves and find out, how far do we rationalize our own hypocrisy? And we've all got it. You can't deny that we are all hypocrites. Even the best of us are hypocrites. We will rally about a country or a company or a device, but we will still use it. And we will use devices made in that country and allow them to profit from it. Social media is a great example of that. Social media is just an amplification tool. It's a marketing tool. You're marketing a business, you're marketing yourself, you're marketing an idea. The platform you are marketing on could go out of business at any time. So don't become dependent on them. Don't become dependent on technology. It's changing all the time. As far as things like, I felt I was a hypocrite by staying on Twitter when Musk bought it.
I said, but I know people there. I have people there. I get useful information from there. That's all true. But it's enabling and empowering one of the worst humans on the planet. And we can rationalize it. Well, I'm just one person. What can I do? Well, you're one person. You can take that first step. I'm thinking about doing the same thing with Facebook. And, it's really kind of the platform that I've used for a long time. So I know a lot of people, a lot of those music people are on it. But when I look at my friends list, and then I look at people that I really communicate with, I have their contact information. People that I could depend on, I have their contact information, or I can get it. News, I go to the source. Go to the source for your news. Don't go to an aggregator. Aggregators are convenient, but you really have to narrow down the ones you trust. And, I'm thinking about getting off of Facebook because I can call the people on Facebook that I know. I can write them a thing saying, listen, I'm going to be leaving. This is my contact information. Let's stay in touch. Let's be more human and not depend on a tool to make us whole. And that's all it is. These things are tools. So, we have to ask ourselves two things. Do we want that's kind of where I'm going with this, is it's time for us to really take a look at ourselves as individuals. What are we willing to rationalize for convenience or for entertainment? And we have to recognize it. And to me, that's being woke, is being aware. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with being aware. And don't let anybody tell you there is.
Yeah, you're at a good point, Rick. I mean, we need to regain the language. There is woke is actually good. Woke is us. Woke is being culturally aware and racially sensitive. That's what it means. If you're anti-woke, you're anti-race. You're racist. The definition of anti-woke is racist, because all woke means is being culturally sensitive. So if you're against being culturally sensitive, you're a racist. And we should re-own that. It's such bullshit. I hate that when I hear that, as you all know. Andrea, do you want to say something before we close?
I think this is for a larger conversation later. I'm just saying that the other flip side of what I brought up, because I just felt like I had to say it, was that also then you can't, when you abandon, given the influence of these platforms, then if this voice or this viewpoint is not heard and not out there and not available, whether or not we attract people across the spectrum, it's also important to maybe not cede the space. I feel like someone, like Crazy Aaron, who keeps going into all these rooms, or I feel like the point is that when you disengage, that's also potentially dangerous. Like, I still haven't left X. I don't really tweet anymore, or whatever it's called now, but I'm still there. I'm also on Blue Sky, and I would rather kind of build a following there and have my peeps from here. I'm just saying it's also important for the alternative viewpoint to be available and on these platforms as well, given the disproportionate impact of far right media versus what there exists for the other side. And that I come down on the fact that I do like fact-based stuff. I don't like the propaganda. I do think the middle-of-the-road reporting from The Economist is something we desperately need and need more of. But there is an imbalance in the media and the social media presence and platforms, and a desperate need to invest more in them.
Good point. Yeah, and it is. We need to talk more about it because it's crazy. Anyway, we made it through day number 2 of the dictatorship. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station. We love you guys, everybody down below. Anybody who is new, like Dr. Goddess down below, we welcome you to come back and join the community and to turn that ticket into. Don't be afraid to become a member of the deep state. They think you are anyway, so you might as well do it officially. Anyway, with that, we're going to do the closing song, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Oops, where is it?
I'm 6'10", Samoa, you 5'2". They're looking for people to pick. Some likely they will pick me, even though you're like the basketball captain of your team.
Никого же не обижаю силой. Нет, мне повысили просто дозу паксил, мне вообще похуй на всех вас, кроме Илоны.
Ну, почему?
Ах ты ж грязный пидор. Раз, 17.
Сколько он скажет, что Илона такая, не такая? Ну, давайте, я прям ставлю 2 недели. Никакие 2 недели, 2 дня, нахуй.
Я никогда в жизни про Илону ничего плохого не говорил и не буду говорить.
Закончатся таблетки, посмотрим.
Нет.
I mean, I pretty much agree with Otis. I don't like the oversimplification. Like the second way that Articulate came around and he started breaking it down, I understand that point better than just saying we're the Jews of America. Like, anyways, to Sherry and to everyone, I hear you. I understand the need for civility, to be able to have conversations, to truly get at what people really mean and what their intentions are. But I think that for a lot of you, you are way too polite. It gets to a certain point where you're talking to people and they're showing their hand. And for Black people to always have excuses, to always find ways to not see what is really happening when talking about white supremacists, I don't know what else we're supposed to fucking call it. These people are coons. We hear it over and over again. They always find ways to kind of like undercut, what should be the Black political position, and they always find ways to defend the white position. So I don't know how many more conversations are we supposed to have where we just pretend like we don't see someone playing dumb, and we just have to sit there and talk to them like they're fucking children and try to make the dots connect for them when the dots really aren't connecting. But I think we got to stop that. Like, enough is enough. That's all I got.
Oh, it's not about civility. It's about having. Where did I say the CEO was right? I never said that. I mean, people will show you who they are all the time. Just let him talk long enough, and then, and then before he left, I pointed out, because I'm not arguing with him, that I was right, and he has a difficult time saying that he is